With the NBA free agency currently being in full swing, full effect, teams are getting better, teams are getting worse, are gaining, losing players. The landscape of the NBA is changing drastically. I have one team in particular I want to talk about today, and that's going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, it could be a little odd because if you've been keeping up, the T-Wolves really haven't done too much in free agency, but I still think that they're going to be one of the most improved teams going into the league next year, and I have a few reasons why I think, and a lot of it has to do with the draft, a lot of it has to do with development, and I'm going to be getting to all that in this video. So if that does sound interesting to you, please watch the video all the way through, and without further ado, without running on too much, just get right into this video. So the first thing I really want to get into is going to be the fact that this team has an absurdly high ceiling for a team that just made it all the way to the second round of the NBA playoffs last year. Now, that is extremely impressive, and the Timberwolves, honestly, although they did end up going out kind of sad against the Dallas Mavericks, I don't think that was the best showing that they did, and I think they were better than they showed in that series as well, and I also just think that they're going to be an even better version of that team going into next season, and the reason I think that is because I think the self-development of this roster is extremely exciting, because for most teams that make it that far into the playoffs, they're usually pretty veteran heavily focused, and they don't have that much room for improvement, but that is not the case here for the Minnesota Timberwolves. As for one, they are currently being led by Anthony Edwards, who is a 22-year-old superstar, and obviously he has tons of room to still improve, which is crazy because he's already a very good player, and he's only going to get better, and he's only going to become a better leader, and only more talented and more skilled and more unstoppable, and as that goes on, their team is only going to be getting better and better, and when your best player is only 22 years old and he's already a superstar at that young, that always is going to raise the ceiling of your team. But then even just outside their best players, they have guys like Jaden McDaniels, who is also only 23 years old, but just made his first all-defensive team this year. He is only getting better offensively. He's gotten better every year he's been in the league offensively. His three-point percentage is getting better, and just all around, he's becoming a very good player and one of the best two-way players in the NBA. He is extremely good on the perimeter defense, and he's just an absolutely locked down guy. Whoever he's guarding is going to have a tough time scoring, and then you add on the top of the fact that he's only 23, so he's only getting better on both ends of the ball. It's only going to get better and better from there. Then you have Karl-Anthony Towns, who although isn't young, I would say he is literally in his prime of his career at 28 years old. This is where he should be playing the best basketball he will play of his entire career, and that is a great sign for them, and they have about a 2-3 year window of Karl-Anthony Towns being in his prime, so they still even have a little bit of a runway there before Cat even remotely shows any sorts of decline in his game, assuming he can stay healthy. And then another young guy is Naz Reid. Now, Naz Reid just won Sixth Man of the Year at only 24 years old. His potential is absolutely through the roof. He's a good athlete. He's an amazing offensive big. He can do a lot of things very well. He's a very good floor spacing at that power forward position. And it's just overall, I mean, last year he was the best bench guy, backup guy in the NBA. And at all times, he is one of the best backup bigs in the entire NBA and could easily start for a lot of other teams in the league right now. And he is obviously only going to get better as well. He's gotten better every year he's been in the league. I don't see that trend ending anytime soon. So Naz Reid's ceiling is even higher than it is right now. And what it is right now is a Sixth Man of the Year candidate, which is unbelievably valuable to any team. And then one of the main reasons I have them here and why I'm so high on them is the fact that they added Rob Dillingham through the NBA draft. Now, they didn't really draft him, but they did trade for him from the San Antonio Spurs. And I think Rob Dillingham fits them so perfectly for a few different reasons. One of those reasons just because short term, he's going to be one of the best bench guards in the entire league. Like, Dillingham has a chance to be the best player in this class, and in my opinion, he is the best guard in this class, and in my opinion, he has Tyrese Maxey potential. And anytime you can get a guy with Tyrese Maxey potential on your roster is extremely important. In short term, I think he's going to be an unbelievably good offensive player off of their bench, which is going to help boost their offense that kind of struggled a little bit last year. And then on top of that, I think long term, he's going to be the Mike Conley replacement, which they are going to have to address sooner or later. And I think this is going to be a huge step towards that. And they're going to be looking at a backcourt going into the future of Rob Dillingham, Anthony Edwards, and I think that is unbelievably stacked, especially on the offensive end. And that could be one of the most fun young backcourts in the entire league league in just a few years, and I think Rob Dillingham greatly increases the size of the ceiling and the height of the ceiling of this team, and I think long term this will be looked at as one of the best moves a team could have made at the time. And then also, they didn't just stop there, they also went and added Terrence Shannon Jr. Now, Terrence Shannon probably won't play much year one, but when he does get to play, he will be an absolute bucket for him. Now, although he's not as good as Dillingham and doesn't have the ceiling Dillingham has, I'm still extremely high on Shannon, and I think he will be an unbelievably good basketball player for them, especially on the offensive end. And I think even in a long-term view of him, I think what's going to happen is Rob Dillingham's going to start off as that bench guard out of the two young guys. Rob Dillingham's going to then start for them, and then Terrence Shannon is going to take that backup role that Dillingham left when he moved up to starting when Mike Conley leaves as well. So I think long-term, they are completely set. They are very young. They have super high ceilings with their two guards they just got. And I just think overall, their ceiling is unbelievably high. And then the last guy that I want to talk about just a little bit is going to be Leonard Miller. Now, Leonard Miller didn't get to play much for them last year, but he was unbelievably good in the G League last year on both ends of the ball. He can score very well. He's just an all-around good small forward. I had him as one of the, I think, top 20 guys in his draft class, and I just think he is going to be a very good, productive player for them in a few years, if not this year coming up. And overall, I just think he is a great player for them. I don't know how he didn't make a G League all-rookie team. It might have been because he played for the Ignite, so that he didn't really count as a rookie maybe, but I just think that for sure Leonard Miller is an insanely good player and definitely deserves the props that he has been getting from the Minnesota Timberwolves fans, and I think NBA fans are going to become very familiar with him once he gets real NBA minutes as well. To put how good of a team this could be in perspective, let's just look at it this way. They could have a starting five that looks a little something like Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert going into next season. So really, they didn't change their starting lineup at all, but they are running it back with a team that showed they can be successful in the playoffs, which is always a very important thing. But now off their bench, they're going to have Naz Reid, the sixth man of the year, literally the best bench player in the league last year, Rob Dillingham, a player who could possibly be the best player in his class and could be the next Tyrese Maxey, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a very good defender who can also score when he's hot, Leonard Miller, and Terrence Shannon Jr. And I think this team is going to be extremely solid. They also have guys like Monte Morris and other guys like that off their bench, and they may make more free agent additions as well after making this video. So there's no telling how good this Timberwolves team can get and how much deeper they can get as well. And a huge reason why I think this is so important is because they are already literally the best defense in the NBA last year. That's how high they were ranked. Like, their defense was absurd last year. But their problem was their offense really wasn't that good. But now with the additions of Terrence Shannon Jr., of Rob Dillingham, and the development of guys like Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Rob Dillingham's improvement, like I said earlier, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Leonard Miller's addition, I think this offense has a chance to become a top 14, top 10 offense in the league, which would be a huge boost to them, because if you can keep the number one defense or a top 3 defense in the NBA while also having a top 10 offense, that's when you really become a contender. And I think with the development of this roster, with the additions they have made, and maybe any further additions they're also going to make in the future, I think this team has a legit shot to be one of the best in the NBA and become a legitimate finals contender out of the Western Conference next year. And I just think overall the short-term and long-term prospects of this team is extremely bright. The Timberwolves front office has done an excellent job, and I just overall am very high on the Timberwolves future, and I think they're going to have a lot of success in the near future and the long-term future as well. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Timberwolves could be a contender? How good do you think they can be? On your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you hit the like point, hit the like button, and subscribe button in the episode. Road to me, and I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.